Hello, good morning to all of you, my dear friends, listeners, video viewers, video people, and my near and dears, my followers. I Ajay Sharma welcome you to my this channel once more. As you know that I have started a series over short stories to improve our English to the advanced level. That's why I have again brought a new one to you to improve English to the advanced level. I hope you will be watching, sharing, and subscribing the channel. If you are new to this channel, please do subscribe and share the video to your friends, colleagues, and to whom you love a lot so that they can also get benefited by it. I had a promise to you that I will bring one story daily to you. So I am now fulfilling my promise to you, and I hope you will be watching the whole video very earnestly to improve our English to the advanced level. So come, let us get started from here. I will read the whole story in one go while explaining difficult words so that you can understand it well. I have picked it up from 12th class book short story. So when I was in 12th class, my dearest sir used to teach us very passionately and earnestly. So these stories include my memories as well. So I fond of reading short stories. Okay, so come, let us get started from here. Here we go. The selfish giant. Selfish means any person who does not care about who do not care about anybody's anybody. You can say, if you are selfish, that it means you are not caring anybody. Okay, selfish giant, you are care only yours. You are thinking about yourself only, and you are doing for yourself, not for others happiness. You are doing everything to bring happiness within you, not for others. So you are a selfish, it means. Okay, so selfish means not caring. Giant means a demon, a monster like human being, a monster, you can say. So giant means a monster or demon. So come, let us go through the whole story and improve our English. Here is the glimpse of the chapter. The giant's garden was beautiful. The children loved to play in it. The giant, who was selfish, built a high wall around his lovely garden. Children did not enter the garden thereafter, nor did spring and summer till the giant experienced a change in heart. So how a giant changed into a human being? Come, let us read this whole story and find the answer. Here, story starts from here. Here we go. Every afternoon, as they were coming from school, the children used to go to play in the giant's garden. It was large, lovely garden with soft green grass. Here and there over the grass stood beautiful flowers like stars. And there were 12 peach trees that in the springtime broke out into delicate blossoms of pink and pearl, and in the autumn bore rich fruit. The birds sat on the trees and sang so sweetly that the children used to stop their games in order to listen to them. How happy we are here, they cried to each other. One day the giant came back. He had been to visit his friend, the Cornish augury, and had stayed with him for 7 years. When he arrived, he saw the children playing in the garden. "What are you doing here?" he cried in a very gruff voice, and children ran away. "My garden is my garden," said the giant. "Everyone can understand that, and I will allow nobody to play in it but myself." So he built a high wall all around it and put up a notice board. "Trespassers will be prosecuted." Trespassers will be prosecuted. Here, prosecuted means they will be punished or they will be sentenced. Or trespassers, the breakers, rule breakers. A person who breaks or breach the rule, It means it is a trespasser. Trespassers will be prosecuted. It was noted on the board. He was very selfish giant. The poor children had now nowhere to play. They tried to play on the road, but the road was very dusty and full of hard stones, and they did not like it. They used to wander around the high walls when their lessons were over and talk about the beautiful garden inside. How happy we were there, they said to each other. Then the spring came, and all over the country there were little blossoms and little birds. Only in the garden of the selfish giant it was still winter. The birds did not care to sing in it, and as there were no children. Here, trespassers, those who enter somebody's land or property without his or her permission, prosecuted, tried in a court of law, here punished. Okay. So children, and the trees forgot to blossom. Once a beautiful flower put its head out from the grass, but when it saw the notice board, it was so sorry for the children that it slipped back into the garden again and went off to sleep. The only people who were pleased were the snow and the frost. Spring has forgotten this garden, they cried, so we will live here all the year round. The snow covered up the grass with her great white cloak, and the frost painted all the trees silver. Then they invited the north wind to stay with them, and he came. He was wrapped in furs, and he rode all day about the garden and blew the chimney pots down. This is a delightful spot, he said. We must ask Hell on a visit. So the Hell came. Every day for 3 hours he rattled on the roof of the castle till he broke most of the slats. And then he ran around and around the garden as fast as he could go. He was dressed in grey, and his breath was like ice. I cannot understand why the spring is so late in coming, said the selfish giant. As he sat at the window and looked out his cold white garden, I hope there will be a change in the weather. But the spring never came, nor the summer. The autumn gave golden fruit to every garden, but to the giant's garden she gave none. She is too selfish. He is so too selfish, she said. So it was always winter there, and the north wind and the hail and the frost and the snow danced about through the trees. One morning the giant was lying awake in bed when he heard some lovely music. It sounded so sweet to his ears that he thought it must be the king's musician passing by. It was really only a little linnet singing outside his window, but it was so long since he had heard a bird singing in his garden that it seemed to him to be the most beautiful music in the world. Then the hail stopped dancing over his head, and the north wind ceased roaring, and a delicious perfume came to him through the open casement. Here, casement means the door. Casement. I believe the spring has come at last, said the giant, and he jumped out of bed and looked out. He saw most wonderful sight. He saw most wonderful sight through a little hole in the wall. The children had crept in, and they were sitting on the branches of the trees. In every tree that he could see, there was a little child, and the trees were so glad to have the children back again, and they had covered themselves with blossoms. Blossoms means flowers. Blossoms. And were waving their arms gently. Above the children's head, the birds were flying about and twittering with delight, and the flowers were looking up through the green grass and laughing. It was a lovely scene. Only in one corner it was still winter. It was the farthest corner of the garden, and in it was standing a little boy. He was so small that he could not reach up to the branches of the tree, and he was wandering all around it, crying bitterly. The poor tree was still covered with frost, and now and the north wind was blowing and roaring above it. "Climb up, little boy," said the tree, and it went its branches down and low as it could. But the boy was too tiny, and the giant's heart melted as he looked out. "How selfish I have been," he said. "Now I know why the spring would not come. Here, I will put the poor little boy on the top of the tree, and then I will knock down the wall, and my garden shall be the children's playground forever and ever." He was really very sorry for what he had done. So he crept downwards and opened the front door quite softly and went out into the garden. But when the children saw him, they were so frightened that they all ran away, and the garden became winter again. Only the little boy did not run, for his eyes were so full of tears that he did not see the giant coming. And the giant stole up behind him and took him gently in his hands and put him up into the tree. And the tree broke at once into blossom, and the birds came and sang on it. And the little boy stretched out his two arms and flung them around the giant's neck and kissed him. And the other children, when they saw that the giant was not wicked any longer, came running back, and with them came the spring. "It is your garden now, little children. It is your garden now, little children," said the giant, and he took a great axe and knocked down the wall. And when the people were going to market at 12 o'clock, they found the giant playing with the children in the most beautiful garden they had ever seen. All day long they played, and in the evening they came to the giant to bid him goodbye. "But where is your little companion? Where is your little companion?" he said. "The boy I put into the tree." The giant loved him the best because he had kissed him. "We don't know," answered the children. "He has gone away." You must tell him to be sure and come tomorrow, said the giant. But the children said that they did not know where he lived and had never seen him before, and the giant felt very sad. Every afternoon, when school was over, the children came and played with the giant, but the little boy whom the giant loved was never seen again. The giant was very kind to all the children, yet he longed for his little friend. And often spoke of him. How I would like to see him, he used to say. Years went by. The giant grew very old and feeble. He could not play about anymore. So he sat in a huge armchair and watched the children at their games and admired his garden. I have many beautiful flowers, he said, but the children are the most beautiful flowers of all. One winter morning, he looked out of his window as he was dressing. He did not hate the winter now, for he knew that it was merely the spring asleep and that the flowers were resting. Suddenly, he rubbed his eyes in wonder and looked and looked. It certainly was a marvelous sight. In the farthest corner of the garden was a tree quite covered with lovely white blossoms. Its branches were golden, and silver fruits hung down from them, and underneath it stood the little boy he had loved. Downstairs ran the giant in great joy, and out into the garden. He hastened across the grass and came near the child, and when he came quite close to the face, grew red with anger, and he said, "Who hath dared to wound thee? Who had dared to wound thee?" It means आपको किसने ये चोट पहुंचाई है? Who had dared to wound thee? Thee means you. तुमको किसने ये चोट पहुंचाई है? For on the palms of the child's hands were the prints of two nails, and the prints of two nails were on the little feet. Who had dared to wound thee? Cried the giant. Tell me, that I may take my big sword and slay him. इससे ये तुमको किसने घाव दिए हैं? ये तुमको किसने मारा है? जाइंट ने चिल्ला कर बोला, तुम मुझे एक बार बात बताओ किसने ये किया है, मैं अपनी स्वाड से उसका सर कलम कर दूंगा. Tell me that I may take my big sword and slay him. Nay, answered the child. Nay means not. Nay, answered the child, but these are the wounds of love. Who art thou? चिल्ड्रन ने कहा कि ये चिल्ड्रन ने आंसर दिया, what these are the wounds of love. ये प्रेम के घाव हैं. Who art thou? जो आपने दिए हैं. Thou, said the giant, and a strange awe fell on him, and he knelt before the little child. Knelt means घुटनों के बल पड़ गया उस चाइल्ड के सामने. And the child smiled on the giant and said to him, You let me play once in your garden. Today you shall come with me to my garden, which is paradise. उसने कहा कि आपने मुझे एक बार मेरे अपने गार्डन में खेलने दिया, अब आप मेरे गार्डन में चलो जो कि एक पैराडाइज है, स्वर्ग है. And when the children ran in that afternoon, they found the giant lying dead under the tree. all covered with white blossoms. So this is the end of the story. I hope you have understood what is the meaning of this story, what is the morals I have learned from this story. Very interesting story this is. Some questions, there are some questions. Who art thou? Who are you? Who art thou means who are you? So this was all about this lesson. I hope you have gone through it and learned a lot of English and morals as well. Thank you for watching. Have a nice time. Thank you everyone. Thank you.